Hey, check 1 2. Hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for joining this month's June Pass Immersion. I'm just honored to have you here and so grateful that we get to share this practice together. And trying to figure out where we're gonna, kick off this immersion as far as the theme goes. And right now, if you're watching live, then we're in a time in America where there's an uprising and a call for unity, a call for justice, and also to get back, or let's say to push forward to a new paradigm, to push forward to a world and a life where all lives do matter. And what we're trying to create here in the US is a recognition of what is been a systemic and it's been an issue since the beginning of time, from when the white folks came over to the US and conquered it. And so right now we have what's coming up is Black Lives Matter. And I know for some white people and folks that aren't Black, what that feels like is that phrase means that my life doesn't matter. But what I shared the other day, and I just want to share with any of you, so hopefully it helps give a little understanding, our whole body matters. And if something is injured and we go to the doctor and we say, "Hey, doctor, I broke my arm," the doctor doesn't say, "Well, your whole body matters." The doctor attends to the area that is broken. And so what we're trying to do here in the US right now, I know a lot of you are from around the world, so just trying to help you understand a little bit, is we're trying to call our attention to what's been broken. And right now, we're really trying to call our attention to Black Lives Matter. And we know that there is a racial issue in this country that's stemming from centuries of hatred and improper use of our actions. And ultimately, what we do in the practice of yoga on an individual level is try to get down below everything that separates us. And what divides us, and this is how we can kind of practice on our own mat in order to better ourselves and to support not only outwardly but inwardly. And this means to do the work to understand inside of me what divides me from someone else. And in Sanskrit, they call that the ahankara. Ahankara is the ego or I maker. And that is the part of the mind that takes in information and says, well, what does this have to do with me? And in that ahankara information, bring in its trying to understand and make sense of what information from outside forces have to do with me, what we start to do is divide ourselves, and we create, the ego creates walls and blocks and separation. And what happens in that is we start looking for ways to define ourselves. And it's not that we're trying to abolish the ego in yoga, but rather we are trying to become aware of it, become aware of what has created it and how we in our life seek to strengthen it. We seek to strengthen our individuality, which is why things like relationships are challenging, families are challenging, friendships can be challenging, all because we're constantly have this thing inside of us, the ahankara, that is trying to define itself and separate us from others. And I think that's because the intellect, that's another part of our mind, is constantly trying to understand this physical plane, and its ability to understand the physical world is through opposition. So it only understands black because it understands white. That's the intellect. Now there's another part of the mind called chitta, which is pure intelligence that is beyond the intellect. Intellect is based on what we learn in this physical plane, where chitta is the intelligence of the universe itself. And that's what we're trying to get to in the yoga practice. So we're trying to not necessarily diminish the role of the intellect or the ahankara, these two aspects of the mind, but trying to not let them be the only source of intelligence inside of us, not let them be the only source of our actions, so that we're not fooled by our own mind, but rather we can tap into the universal energy that pulses through all things. And when we tap into that universal energy that is pulsing through us, what tends to happen is an experience that the yogis call samadhi, and that is the state of oneness. The state of oneness where all things, not only all people, but all things in the universe itself, become to our awareness. We become immersed in that fullness of all things. And in that state, there is no separation, there is no divide, there is no black and white, and there is no up and down and in and out. But as humans, we don't exist in that state of chitta, or that place of chitta. That part of our mind tends to be weak. That part of ourselves, our ability to sit in that place, tends to be weak. And that's why we practice yoga, to get back to that state of oneness, to see the eye maker inside of us that separates us from each other. Now, this kind of work is not easy. This work of trying to dig through my own belief systems and thought patterns and emotional patterns that separate me and divide me from my friends and my enemies, my fellow humans, and beyond. So to dig through this is not easy work. It doesn't feel like, joyful and exciting all the time. The result of it, though, is that as a result of digging through all of the things, all the layers that have divided us, what we start to feel is a sense of unity. And then it's natural to stand up for those that are in a place right now, or in life just generally. We can stand up for those that have been oppressed, or that don't have it. A system of life but a system of society has been broken that cuts other people out of it, doesn't allow people in. So what we're trying to do is, for ourselves on the yoga mat, this time now, to work through and see our own ego, to work through and see what divides us, what separates us, so that we can understand outwardly what unites us. Now, one last thing I want to talk about. So we have the ahankara, which is the ego or the eye maker, the part that separates us, creates the divide. We have the intellect, which understands that these are parts of the mind. Intellect understands life through black and white, or through up and down, through opposition, or through the contrast. That's how the intellect works. So if we only operate from intellect and ego, then it makes total sense that we see the world as a divided whole. We don't see the whole, we see everything in its parts. And while it can be useful, we want to make sure that we also have this other side of us that is tapped into the full universal energy, that can feel emotionally, feel the sensationally, the experience of all of humanity and all of life. And so that means tapping into the intelligence of chitta, the intelligence of the universe. So that means going through a lot of our deep-seated stuff. And that could be the patterns that have been formed since childhood and beyond, from our parents and our grandparents, that have their patterns have been placed upon us and then rooted into our system and form our belief systems and our perception. And to go beyond that requires a lot of burning, a lot of intense burning of what's called samskaras. And samskaras are the patterns that have been grooved into our mind, our ways of thinking, our ways of believing, our ways of acting. Okay, so this is the general kind of goal of yoga, is to experience that samadhi and go beyond those, not just pay attention to the intellect and the ahankara. Intellect is, by the way, buddhi. The buddhi and the ahankara, to not just let those operate our life. And what also I think is important to bring up in this time, and we'll hash these things out as we go along, and how they apply to us as on our yoga mat, and how they apply to us in our life. But the other thing is this concept of rajas, tamas, and sattva. Rajas and tamas are opposite energies that exist in nature, and you can see it all around. And you can see it because we as humans are a part of nature. You can see it very clearly in us. You could see it in society. You could see it in the weather. Like, for example, rajas and tamas, here's an example. In wintertime in the Northwest here in Connecticut, all the trees lose their leaves, and the energy of the trees draws inward, and it pulls in so that it can contain its energy. And when spring comes around again, it draws that energy outward and starts producing buds, and the leaves start to pop. Okay, so the outward centripetal forces, that's the rajas, whereas the inward centrifugal force, I think I'm saying it right, is tamas, and that's the drawing inward and then the expansion outward. Those two things are kind of happening all the time, and we see it in nature, that go energy in the spring, like where everything's just like. Here in Connecticut, we had a really long spring where everything was held back, and then within a day, it's like boom, it was summer. It just like popped, it burst. And we see that in America right now with COVID-19. Everyone was inside. Everyone is quiet. We're not out in the streets. We're not out in our cars. There's no busyness when you walk outside. It was quiet, right? And most people felt like, okay, I'm going inward. I'm going inward. And then now we have the exact opposite. That expansion outward. That rajas energy. That fight. That get up and go. And both sides are incredibly important. For some of us right now, we need to go inward. We need to reflect and go inside ourselves and see where we have formed separation, where we've learned to separate ourselves from others. And others, it's a time to step up and fight. Either way, we need to take action in one direction, right? Wherever we are in the world. But one is outward and one is inward. And they'll always balance each other out. When things go inward for a while, then they're bound to expand outward. Now, right in the center, this is an important part for all of us doing this work, is sattva. Sattva is the state where let's say the nervous system, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems come into balance. And in that state, we have the most amount of clarity of the mind. And that's where we can go beyond our intellect, and we can go beyond the ahankara in order to connect to that deeper state of chitta. And we could also, there's also one other aspect to the mind, and that's our memories, and memories create impressions and whatnot. But we want to go beyond those parts of ourselves so we can get to that place of chitta. Now, when we're in the state of rajas, we're already taking action. We're already moving outward. We're already pushing forward. In that place, hopefully that place we've been acting from the intelligence that we've gained from the place of sattva. Okay, when we're just acting without intelligence, not intellectual intelligence, but intelligence of the universe, then of course we will get burned out, and our fight ends quickly. This happens, if you've ever had a job where you were really excited about, and then you just like go, and then you burn out. Okay, we have to also come back to that place of sattva. So rajas is balanced by tamas. So we need to go back inward and breathe and get back into the state of equanimity in order to then take better action. And this takes effort. All of this work of the yoga practice takes effort. And I just want to say thank you for stepping into this practice today and stepping into your yoga practice, deciding that this month that you're going to commit to yourself and your path and your work as a yogi on and off your mat. This is something to honor about yourself, that you decided amongst all the challenges of life that you were going to commit to understanding yourself better on a physical and a mental and emotional way. Now, there's so many reasons why we could, avoid that. And there's so many people out there that do avoid this kind of work, to see ourselves, to take care of this physical body, to take care of the mind that we've been living with this whole time. So many people avoid that, and as a result separate themselves so much that they let their fear and their anger rule their actions. And our job is to find another way. So let's step it up together as a community. We're about 130 people strong right now. So I thank you all for being a part of this, and for supporting me as well and my family, and for making the decision to practice with me. And I hope that I serve you at the highest level, and that's my goal. And I know I'll get it wrong for some of you, and I'm just gonna know that I'm doing my best. Okay, and that's my goal, is really to help us as a community to go inward, to go through the stuff that holds us, that separates us, to tap into that deeper sense of the universe itself. This is the goal of yoga, and this is my goal to share with you. So let's start today in child's pose. Arms out in front, a humble bow to the universe itself, a humble bow to nature. May we recognize that the breath that moves through me, that same energy is moving through you. And this is something that we truly can unite about. Gratitude for the energy of life that moves through each of us. Can we honor it? Respect it? Be grateful for it. The yoga practice is largely about rajas. It's the outward expression. It's the push. It's the energy. The push in our practice that really ignites our fire. The activation of the muscles, the squeezing of prana through our system, of energy through our system. And what it tends to leave us in the end after our practice is that little bit of sattva. Because the body tends to be tamasic. The body tends to be still most of our day for a lot of us. And so bringing that rajas in is what balances it out. So as we move through the yoga practice, we'll slowly awaken the body and slowly bring in that rajas energy, that outward intense force of power. We'll do it in a way that is aligned with this breath that moves through us. We'll do it in a way that's aligned with the inner awareness of all things. So with that said, start to activate your muscles of your forearms, gripping the fingers into the ground. And then with your fingers gripping into the ground, you start to develop that heat in the forearms. Come forward to all fours, arch and look up. Exhale and round and move back, hips to heels. Inhale forward, arch, look up. Exhale, round, move back. Continue to awaken, come forward, arch the back and look up. And exhale, hips back to heels. Inhale, forward, arch, look up, tuck your toes. You can widen your feet a little bit as you come up to down dog. Take a wide-legged down dog for the first round here. Move your hips a little side to side. You bend each knee and wag your tail in each direction, opening up the sides of the body. And then bring the feet a little closer together. Grip your fingers into the ground again and just ignite the forearm muscles and push shoulders to the ears. Shift forward to plank pose on the next breath in. And place the knees down. Exhale, child's pose, hips to heels. Inhale, forward, all fours, arch, look up. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Again, come forward, inhale, plank pose. Exhale, knees down, child's pose. Inhale, forward, all fours, tuck toes, arch the back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring the feet closer together, right leg comes up to the sky, inhale. Bend your knee, open up your hip. Roll the right ankle around, take a full breath into your right side. Straighten the leg on the in-breath. One time, knee to nose, round your upper back, shift towards plank. Inhale, back and up, right leg goes up. Step right foot forward as you exhale. Okay, come up onto your fingertips and take a breath in. And out. Pull your 2 feet toward each other and draw inward. So the energy of tamas is drawing inward to the center, the core of ourselves. That's an inward force, okay? And we do that intentionally in the yoga practice in order to have the power to drive outwards. So we draw our feet toward each other, embracing that tamas, of course, with the energy of our musculature, so it's still rajas. Push the right heel down and lengthen through the top of the head. Take a full breath in. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Shift forward, inhale, plank pose. Place the knees down, this time bend the elbows and lower down. Let's warm up the back muscles. So walk your hands back quite a bit and roll your shoulders first, just like I'm doing here. So you roll your shoulders forward, up, and back. Shoulders forward, up towards the sky, back a few times, and just kind of awaken what's called the rhomboids, the muscles between your shoulder blades, and the upper and middle fibers of the trapezius are also awakening. Okay, so now go forward towards your ears, up, meaning your shoulder blades come together, and then back, and hold them there, and see if you can lift your hands up off the ground and lift your heart up. Exhale, hands back down, soften for a moment. Let's warm up the back some more. Inhale, lift the heart up, shoulders toward each other in the backside, hands lift up. Exhale, soften. Again, shoulders toward each other in the backside, lift the heart, lift the hands. And exhale. All fours on the in-breath. Tailbone goes to the sky, lean back, exhale back, downward facing dog. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Bend the knee, open the hip. Roll the left ankle around.
Straighten the left leg on the in-breath. Together one time, knee to nose, round the upper back. Pull the knee as tight as possible. Inhale, back and up. Step forward as you exhale. Okay, come up onto your fingertips and take a full breath. Now that inward force, and I want to be clear that all kind of muscle engagement is rajas, but we're using it kind of more metaphorically to help us understand what the difference between tamas and rajas is. Inward force is tamas. So we pull our feet toward each other, towards the center of the pelvis, and draw inward towards ourselves by pulling the front ribs in a little bit, like rounding. Okay, so it's a humble bow to the forces of nature. Now, press your left heel down so your buttocks activates, and that force pushing down and digging down can be considered that more rajas, that fire, okay? Lengthen through the top of the head, take a full breath in. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Knees down, lower to the earth. Let's do some more shoulder rolls and get the rhomboids and the upper trapezius awakened. So shoulders to the ears, up, back, and you just keep rolling a few times. The whole time the heart is lifted a little bit. So your back muscles are also awakening. It's called the erector spinae group. And letting the breath flow through you, that universal force of energy that flows through all of us. Let it move through you so you can feel it, so you can feel it, we can feel each other, everyone practicing here and beyond. All right, so now shoulders go up and back, hold. On the inhale, lift the heart up. Let's warm up the back muscles. Exhale, soften. 2 more, inhale. Now lift the hands up. Exhale. 1 more. Hands up. Exhale. Push to all fours, inhale. Exhale, tuck toes, back downward dog. Let's take 3 breaths in our downward facing dog. So the energy of the breath reminds us that we are alive and that we are a being of nature. And this is one thing that is at the core of our being. We are all a part of this universe, and the universe has created us. Nature has created us. The forces of nature, I'm talking about rajas and tamas and sattva, these are called the gunas. And that translates to the forces of nature. And reminding ourselves that the forces of nature exist within us, remind us that we are all connected through them, that we are all connected through the force of energy inside of us, that nature has created us, not the other way around. So what exists in nature exists within us. Lift the heels up, inhale, look forward. Empty it out, hop or step to the front of the mat. When you get there, take a halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. Let's do 2 more, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and bow. 1 more, inhale, half lift. Exhale and bow. Now take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Let your shoulders go towards your ears first. Once they're towards your ears, start to squeeze your elbows toward each other and your shoulder blades toward each other. With that, stretch the hands far away from you by straightening the elbows and start to look towards your navel. Feel the breath flowing through you. Inward and outward, that force of nature flowing through us. Allowing us this experience to be alive. Place the hands to the hips, arch the upper back, rise all the way up to stand. All right, so our goal today is we're going to try to move with the rajas in our yoga practice. We'll put the effort in and
hopefully get the body moving, and the mind, as we move along, the mind that tends to be more rajasic, the mind will start to calm down into the more tamasic state. And together we can start to find where is the balance between the two? Where is that balance that we call sattva, that place of equanimity, where we can go beyond the ego, go beyond the intellect, and into the state of samadhi, where we can receive the intelligence of the universe, okay, with a chitta, the greater intelligence beyond my intellect, beyond the I maker of the ego, ahankara. So we get to that state of sattva in order to make it easier for us to get down to that place of oneness. Inhale, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow to the earth, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. Step the left foot back as you exhale. Place your hands on your front knee, come up and pause. Exhale the breath out. Okay, draw inward by pulling your feet toward each other and pulling your ribs back. Okay, so everything comes into the center. From that tamasic-like experience of drawing inward to the core, we gain power, for then we can then expand outward. Okay, so now push your right heel down in order to begin the rise upward of the center of your body. Now take your arms up into a cactus-like shape and pull your elbows toward each other in the backside so that your shoulder blades, your scapula, move toward one another and your heart begins to open. Now this begins the expansion outward, the rajas. Okay, now lift the heart up to the sky and reach the hands up as high as they go. That includes lifting from the sides of your body, wiggling your ribs up taller, and trying to get the shoulders up higher to warm up the muscles near the neck called the upper fibers of the trapezius. Okay, lift up, look up now. Exhale, hands to the earth. Plank pose on the in-breath. Place the knees down if you'd like, Chaturanga, all the way to the earth. Now slide your hands wide, come on to your fingertips. I know a lot of you are new to practicing with me, so I'm going to take it slow on this first Cobra to just show you all the different ways that we go into it. And at first, most people find it challenging to do Cobra this way. And then after some sessions, it starts to get easier and make sense. And the spine starts to open up and you get greater range of motion. So just stick with it for a little while and ask questions in the Facebook group and we'll support you. Okay, so the first step is we round the back. This is what gives us lift and lightness. Okay, that's a little bit of a push energy, a little bit of rajas. But then we kind of soften a more tamasic kind of experience. So on the exhale, you actually melt your heart between your shoulders in order to let the spine suspend. In this place, there should be no compression of the spine. It should just be like your chest is actually releasing between your shoulders. Okay, now that takes time because you have to relax some of the muscles on the shoulders called the serratus anterior, and that's hard to do. Okay, then from here, the last part is to breathe, but to breathe by lifting the heart up and the back of the neck up. Now, at that point, a lot of people experience compression because they push this way rather than lifting straight up to the sky. So don't push yourself back to your hips. Lift upward only, okay? And then release. You can give your fingers a rest. Now, of course, that can be really hard on the fingers if you're new to this, and also that length of time is intense, okay? So let's try it again. And if you need to just watch a few times, that's okay. We'll do it 2 more times. Inhale, we round, get lifted. Exhale, we soften, melting right in between the shoulder blades here. Okay, at that point, you should feel completely decompressed. And then we want to lengthen, pick the belly up through the heart to the top of the head. Okay, I'm going to show you my midsection so you understand that picking the belly up is an activation of these muscles called the transverse abdominals. Transverse abdominals, there's something called linea alba in the front of the abdomen, and in the back we have the thoracolumbar fascia. The transverse squeezing pulls the belly towards the spine. So you would find these 2 points go in toward each other, and you get this lift here. And what seems to happen is the spinal column feels like it pulls apart from itself, or it draws the contents of the abdomen up into the chest, giving a lift to the diaphragm instead of pressing the diaphragm down. So the diaphragm now moves out this way. So on that last movement, inhale, exhale, you're actually like a lion's chest, pressing the heart forward, up, like you're pulling yourself through. Okay, so let's try it again. I just wanted to give you that visual. And I know some of you have been with me for a long time, so you know this. So I appreciate you bearing with me. I want to just kind of get everybody on the same page so we all feel united together. Okay, inhale, we round. Exhale, soften. Okay, now pick the belly up towards your throat. Then lift up through the back of your skull. And then release. Over time, that'll make more and more sense. Come to all fours, hands and knees. Please put your questions in the Facebook and I'll help to answer those. Come to downward facing dog. Full breath in and full breath out. It is said in order to move through the layers of our mind, especially the ahankara, the ego maker, the I maker, and the intellect, that division maker, that sees the world in opposites. In order to do that, the easiest place to do it from is that place of sattva. So we want to balance the gunas, balance the rajas and tamas. That means if we're been still in our body, we got to move it. If we've been momentous in our mind, we have to still it in order to come into that place of balance. That is the easiest place to go beyond our patterned behaviors and thoughts and emotions. Lift the heels up, inhale, look forward. Empty it out, hop or step to the front. Halfway lift when you do get there. Exhale to bow. Rise to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to the heart, Samastitihi. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale to the earth, bow. Inhale, halfway lift. Right foot steps back. Inhale, hands to the front knee. Push down from your buttocks, push down into the heels so you can feel the strength of your glutes turn on when you do that. Okay. And then draw your 2 feet toward each other. So instead of sinking in the pose, you're going to pull in and up. And this is what's called a facilitated stretch, activating the muscles that would otherwise be stretching. Now, you could take a longer stance once you do that, but still activate the muscles, draw in to the center. Then push down a little bit more and start to rise. Okay, so now from the strength that draws inward, we can rise outward. We can expand outward. That's balancing the gunas. That's balancing tamas. Drawing inward gives us the strength to expand outward. That's the essence of tamas and rajas. Okay, now take your arms together. Draw your shoulder blades inward towards the spine in order to now rise upward and expand outward through the fingertips. Get tall, get lifted, get light, get strong. Take a full breath in, look up. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step into plank pose, inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Slide the hands wide, fingertips. Let's do this together. Inhale, round the back. Exhale, melt the chest between your shoulder blades. Now pick your abdomen up towards your heart. Lift your throat up, lift your gaze. Exhale, release. Let's do it again. Inhale, round. Exhale, soften. Inhale, lift the belly, lengthen. Exhale, release. One more time, try it. Inhale, round. Exhale, soften. Heart in front of chest, or heart in front of shoulders. Pull the heart through, forward. Pull the heart to the front of the mat as you lift your belly. And exhale, release. All fours, push or plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. We breathe as we balance the gunas through the push and the pull, the inward and the outward. Slowly, we'll start to come into that place of balance of what would be called sattva. And then in that sattvic state, we can tune into that greater intelligence, chitta or chit, greater intelligence of the universe. And in that intelligence is said to be a place of bliss, ananda, chit ananda, exists at the core of our being,
full awareness or intelligence of the universe and bliss. Chit Ananda, awareness and bliss, awareness of all things. Lift the heels up on the inhale, look forward. Empty it out, hopper step. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. Inhale, rise to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale to the earth. Halfway lift, inhale. Step or hop back, chaturanga, your choice, however you want to get there. Okay, slide the hands wide, inhale, round. Exhale, melt, chest in front of shoulder blades. Lengthen, inhale. Heart forward. Exhale, release. Let's come to all fours, hands and knees, or plank, inhale. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. The right leg comes to the sun, inhale. Step right foot forward as you exhale. Push down, rise, high lunge, inhale. Exhale, open it up, Virabhadrasana 2. Hold. Now draw inward from the feet, pull into the center of your core and till you feel your groin muscles, your inner thigh muscles tone all the way into the pelvis, and then move your groins slowly back as if you're going to sit in a chair, just slowly, and that will deepen the hip joint here. That's a good thing. We want to kind of preserve that space there. So we draw in and slightly back, okay? Now, draw the contents of the abdomen, use that tamasic energy, that inward motion. So the belly goes inward in order to be more rajasic, to rise, to expand. Now take the arms out to the sides. Okay, let's move the arms today. Let's get into internal and external rotation. We'll use the in-breath to internally rotate and lift the back of the heart. Exhale, out the breath, externally rotate, lift the heart. Inhale, lift the back of the heart, internally rotate. Exhale, externally rotate, lift the front of the heart. Inhale, lift the back of the heart like you did in the first part of Cobra. Exhale, lift the front of the heart. Hold, gaze over your front hand. Inhale, reverse warrior. Back to warrior 2, exhale. Squeeze your feet toward each other. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, back. One more time, inhale. Hands to the ground as you exhale. Plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, round. Soften. Lengthen the front. Release. All fours. Plank pose if you'd like. Exhale, down dog. Left side up, inhale. Step. Push down, rise. Open up, warrior 2. Draw inward. So the groins, actually, you kind of do it in one action. Pull inward and move the hips back a little bit until you feel a deepening in the center of your pelvis, almost like your butt sticking back a little. You can try to press don't tuck the tailbone so much, but press the buttocks down into the heels so you feel your glutes fire up. So we do want the groins back and a gentle arch of the low back. You can press down through your heels to activate your glutes, but still draw in through the front of the legs. So I'll say it again. The front of the legs squeeze in as the groins move back. That's step 1. Step 2, from the buttocks, press down through the heels to get more lift, more rise. Holding that, lift the belly, take the arms out to the sides. Let's reverse the breath this time. Inhale, externally rotate. Exhale, internally rotate the arm bones. Inhale, externally rotate. Exhale, internally rotate. Inhale, externally rotate.
Exhale. Internally rotate. Flip the palms. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Groins back, pull your feet toward each other. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step to plank. Inhale. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide, fingertips. Inhale around. Soften as you exhale. Lift the belly up. Exhale, release. All fours or hands and knees are plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold here and enjoy. Feel the sensations of the body. The pulse of energy of life is moving through us. Feel the totality of it, the good, the bad. Ultimately, the privilege that it is to be alive. Air is pulsing through our lungs with gratitude for our existence. We get to be in this body. Lift the heels up on the inhale. Empty it out, hop or step. Halfway lift on the in-breath. Exhale and bow. Inhale, rise to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart, Samastitihi. Please bend your knees. Take your hips back and push your heels isometrically outward until you feel your buttocks kind of widens in the backside. And you feel these muscles called the abductors, the outer hip muscles. So I'll say it one more time. Push your heels out like you're trying to separate the mat, and you'll feel these outer hips engage. And what that does is it kind of pulls the pelvis apart in the back, giving your sacrum, which is this triangular bone in the back of your pelvis there. It gives it space to have a little bit of movement, which allows the spine to curl into a back bend. Okay, so lift the heart up. Keep your knees from going forward. Keep them back and push outward with the heels. Lift your heart up. Find those transverse abdominals we talked about. Lift the belly up. Now, all of this energy, let it start to rise. Draw your shoulder blades toward each other on the back. That's that pulling inward in order to expand outward. So start with the pulling inward and then expand outward. Lift the arms up. Full breath, look up. Full breath out. Keep the hips back, push the heels out. 2 more breaths. One more full breath in. Exhale to the earth, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. You can step or hop back, Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide, fingertips, inhale. Soften on the exhale. Lift and lengthen, inhale. Exhale, release. All fours or plank, inhale. Exhale in a downward facing dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward as you exhale. Push down, rise, high lunge, inhale. Open up, warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle preparation, forearm to the thigh, hand to the hip. Now we do the same thing. We move our groins back and pull the feet toward each other. I guess it's a little bit in reverse here. So groins go back first. Pull the feet inward. So that's that tamasic drawing inward to the center. Even take a humble bow a little bit in order to slide the right hand down. Okay, so with that, now is the time to expand outward. Now we've drawn inward. Push the right heel, the front heel, down into the ground, and that'll initiate a rotation of the pelvis and the belly and the chest. Keep going. Now start to expand the heart like a back bend without losing the hips back. So keep the groins back. Just take a little bit of a back bend here.
And then start to peel open your left shoulder, reach the left hand to the sky. Your right heel, that's the front heel, pushes down. It digs into the earth, really rajasic, really powerful. Okay, and then you turn the heart from here. Let's do 3 more breaths. Feel the fullness of breath moving through you, life, energy, that nature is pulsing inside of us. It is us. Rajas and Tamas and Sattva, these are the forces of nature that exist inside of us. Release the hands to the ground. Plank pose on the in-breath. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale. Soften as you exhale. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, release. Plank or all fours. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Left leg, inhale. Step. Push down, rise, high lunge. Open warrior 2. Grinds back. Reverse, inhale. Side angle pose, forearm to the thigh to start. Here are the actions. Groins go back. Pull your feet toward each other until you feel your inner thighs, your adductor muscles activate. Holding those muscles active, draw inward in the core, even round the back a little bit, okay? So your back is rounded, your feet are squeezing in. Use that introspective force, that inward moving tamas to slide the hand down to the ground. Okay, now keeping it, don't lose that inner force, but just kind of expand upon it. And you'll do that by continuously pulling your feet toward each other, but now pushing down through the left outer heel. We'll start to initiate a turn of the pelvis. Lengthen the heart towards the front of the yoga mat like a back bend, then turn it towards the sky and pull your right shoulder blade towards the midline. So the shoulder blade goes inward in order to expand outward with the right hand. Now, you've got your 2 feet pulling toward each other, using that tamasic inward energy. And then the left heel is pushing down, using that rajas, the outward force, to expand. Hold here as you breathe and feel the expansion and the contraction of your rib cage with the breath, the force of nature pulsing through you. How grateful we are to have each breath. Both hands to the ground. Step into plank pose in the in-breath. Exhale, Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide, fingertips inhale, round. Soften. Inhale, lift the belly through the skull. Exhale, release. All fours or plank. Exhale, down dog. Enjoy the breath. Enjoy the sensation of the movement of energy through the system. To go beyond the eye maker, the ahankara, and the intellect, the buddhi. To go beyond these parts of the mind and tap into that chit ananda, that blissful awareness of all that is. We have to dig through some layers that are not so pleasant. Layers of intensity, layers of ego, layers of belief systems that are from our life and from our parents and our grandparents' lives. We have to dig through a lot of dirt in order to get down to that place of Chitananda. It is not an easy practice. Lift the heels up, inhale, look forward. Exhale, hop or step lightly. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale and bow. Inhale, rise to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart. One of the, what's called the kleshas, the twists of the mind is something called ignorance. And this is something that all yogis seek to be clean of, the ignorance, to the not knowing the truth. And that requires a lot of effort. So it's okay. that, that it takes some effort to move through the asanas, and it takes some effort to move through practices like meditation and pranayama and the inner work to remove all the layers and get down to the depth of our soul. Push the heels out, sit back, lift the heart up. There's layers of shame, there's layers of guilt, there's layers of not enoughness, there's layers of perfection, there's layers of everything inside of us. When we start to peel back those layers, it can be challenging, okay? This is normal, and it doesn't always seem like that's what transformation is going to look like. We all think that transformation is going to look like butterflies and rainbows, but actually it's the deep work that really gets into that place. Is when we really want to feel the deep freedom, the true freedom, we got to get down and dig into it. Lift the heart up. Take the arms up. You feel it in your muscles, right? If you want to get stronger in your muscles, you got to put the work in. You want to feel more powerful in your physical body, then it takes effort. It takes sitting in the intensity of breaking down a muscle, rebuilding it. It's hard for the muscular system. It's hard for the mind. Nothing in life gets stronger without that effort. One more full breath in. Exhale and bow. Halfway lift, inhale. Chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or up dog, just one breath here. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg to the sun, inhale. Step the right foot forward as you exhale. You're going to keep your left hand down, take your right hand up to the sky. Hold here as you exhale. Make this fairly simple. 2 more breaths here. Exhale it out. 1 more full breath in. And exhale, right hand to the inside of the right foot. Left hand comes down. Left heel comes down. Left hand to the hip. Now, pull your feet toward each other, coming into the position from a different shape, maybe a little bit deeper perhaps. Press the right heel down and start to kind of turn your torso around the front foot. Turn your heart now towards the sky. Keep pressing your front heel down. If you need to come up on your right fingertips, no big deal. Take your left hand up. Use your back muscles to curl the heart open. Full breath in. And out. If you can, keep your right heel of the hand down on the ground. And letting your right shoulder and knee come in contact is great. I'll explain that later. 1 more breath. Keep pushing down through your right heel. All right, place both hands to the ground, left knee down, and heel toe, I'm going to turn a little bit to show you. Heel toe, the right foot, a little out to the right, place the back knee down, stick your bum up to the sky like you're kind of just lifting the back inner groin in order to bring your left or right elbow. If you can get your left down, great. Otherwise, on a block is also good, and your right hand can come underneath. Grab the ankle if that's possible. Otherwise, you got blocks or something to put your elbows on, please do so and bow your head. And what you'll want to do here, muscularly, what I'm going to ask you to do is to press your right heel, your front heel, down into the ground and squeeze gently the knee in towards your armpit and towards your chest, rather than letting it go out to the side for now. So squeeze in, activate your adductors, and then press down, activate your gluteus muscles, opening up this right hip. Full breath in and full breath out. I had a few requests for postures this month that we're going to move through and going to layer in little by little the techniques that we need throughout this week and throughout the month so that you can really gain the greatest opportunity to access these postures. I don't want to give them all away just yet, so just bear with me. Okay, and come on up. And what you'll feel is probably a rush of blood back to that right leg. Come back to all fours, hands and knees for a moment. Tuck the toes, come to down dog, and see if you can observe the right side versus the left side. Now, the intellect is the part that can notice the difference between right and left. Chitta is the part that can observe. Okay, so what we're trying to do is align the buddhi, the intellect, with observation. We start to allow the buddhi to kind of connect to chitta so it doesn't get confused. Usually the buddhi, which is the intellect, thinks that it is the intelligence, whereas its job really is to decipher the difference between the right and the left side, which is not intelligence. It's just simply a deciphering or cutting mechanism that our mind has. Take the left leg to the sky on the inhale. Step forward as you exhale. Push down, rise, high lunge, inhale. Oh, I'm sorry. Take your right hand to the ground. And turn your chest, left hand to the sky. Did a little extra high lunge there. My apologies. Hold here, full breath in. And out. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. And left hand now comes to the inside of your foot. Right heel spins down. We're in side angle preparation again. So here's the actions here. You'll notice your hips are already back. So keep that. And just pull your feet toward one another until you activate the adductor muscles, the inner thighs. Okay, keeping that, press your left heel down to activate the right gluteus muscles, and that'll initiate the turn of your pelvis open. Now, I'll say this, most of us in this posture, the tightness of the left inner groins, the left knee will press into the shoulder. You can counteract that by pressing the left outer heel down. That will take the knee out to the side a little bit more, okay? Turn your chest by first back bending, then pull your right shoulder back. Press your left outer heel down, right hand goes up. Now, just because you're pressing your left outer heel down, the tendency will be that your inner groins start to relax. Can you also pull your feet toward each other while pressing your left outer heel down? Think left outer heel down and pulls back. Right foot pulls forward. Full breath in. Curl back. Exhale, hands to the ground. All right. We come into lizard pose, a different variation. The back knee comes forward a little bit, and your left butt goes up and to the left. I want to take the elbows down to the ground or the block. Now, if you have access, your left hand comes and grabs the outer heel so you can come in a little bit tighter. And again, what we'll try to do here is squeeze the front knee in and press the left heel down. We want to feel all the sensations of, it's very uncomfortable sometimes to be in these postures and to feel what's happening. Kind of what's happening it's very uncomfortable in society to feel the emotional experience of everyone that's in pain, and we tend to avoid it and sit in our comfort zone. And that is what causes a lot of these issues of racism, sexism, and everything else, is that we get comfortable in our lives and we ignore what is who is and what is uncomfortable for too long. And then, of course, we at some point we got to feel it in order to unite with one another. And this is the time to feel it. Okay, it's the time to feel the discomfort of our body, discomfort of our emotions, the mind, and to breathe through it, to breathe anyway, and to hold each other with kindness and compassion as we all breathe through it and we do our best to take action towards a better world. Okay, step back in a downward facing dog. And nature has its moments, right, where it destroys things and it rebuilds things, it grows, it dies. And we don't disregard the storm in nature, and we don't disregard nature's power. It's all part of the universal energy. And to feel the totality of it is hard. It's hard to embrace the rainy days and not just the sunny days. It's hard to embrace the storm and not just the beautiful 70-degree weather, right? But the totality of it is needed for nature to exist. So we'll have to embrace the whole to the best of our ability. Lift the heels up, inhale. Empty the breath out, hopper step. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. To the sun, rise up, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart, Samasthiti. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Take your hands to the heart, chair pose, and then take your left leg back into bent-kneed warrior 3. Now press your right buttock bone, your right sit bone down slightly so you feel your glutes activate and your front of your pelvis will actually lift up a little higher. Okay, now take the arms back behind you. Warming up these hip muscles, take 2 more breaths.
Take one more breath. Start to bring the hands back to the heart. Bend the knee a little bit deeper and lean slowly forward with your heart, but back with your foot, and come into high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, hands to either side of the front foot. Pivot the back heel down so that it's about 45 degrees forward, and walk your hands back behind the right heel. If you need a longer stance, you can take it. Start to straighten the front leg. First, start with your toes lifted, and then try to press your big toe and big toe mound down here, and even drag the ball mound of the foot back so you feel the arch activates. Then push your pinky toe of the same foot down. You know, the foundation is set. Take your left hand to your hip and start to turn your chest. What you'll start to feel as you turn your chest is a lengthening of what's called the adductor muscles that we were strengthening. You're going to keep that, but stick your butt back slightly. So you form a gentle, you can even feel in your low back, feel a gentle curve in your back, and look at your bottom foot and kind of curl back like a back bend. With your top shoulder, draw the shoulder blade inward towards the spine by pulling the head of the shoulder back. Okay, so slight back bend. Now take the left hand to the sky. You have the option to turn the gaze or to keep it down. If you feel any strain in the inner right knee, micro bend the knee and spin the thigh bone out. Out meaning kneecap towards your arm. Trikonasana. Maybe a little different variation of how to get into it than you're used to. And there's definitely a purpose for that. Try to help you get deeper into the hip joint specifically, okay? Bend the front knee. And please step forward on the inhale, halfway lift. Push the back of your hamstrings out and bow. Observe. Remember, observation cultivates awareness. Awareness is part of that chitta. Chitta is where we're moving inward. Beyond the intellect and the eye maker, ahankara. Place the hands to the hips, arch the upper back and rise. Tadasana. Okay, bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Hands to the heart, Samasthitihi. We move into that modified warrior 3, sending the right heel back, keeping the left knee bent. Now move your hips slowly back until you feel the weight in your left heel. Big toe and pinky toe are what balances you. So big toe, pinky toe press down, lean back into your heel and press from your left buttock bone down into your heel to activate your glutes. Even pull the outer left hip back, then lift the back leg higher. Outer left hip back, then lift the back leg higher. Okay, hold, full breath in. If you want to take your arms out to the sides, you can. Another breath. Okay, slowly lean forward with your torso, but slowly lower the knee as you reach back with the right foot. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, hands to the ground. Don't straighten. Pin the back heel to the ground. Okay, 45 degrees, and start to straighten through the left leg. Your big toe and pinky toe press down. From here, place your right hand to your hip. Big toe and pinky toe are pressing down. As you turn your chest towards the sky, your bottom knee will start to turn in accidentally. See if you can spin it out towards your arm continuously, and only turn towards the sky to the degree that your adductors of the bottom leg will allow. Take your right hand up, Utthita Trikonasana. One more breath. Bend the front knee. You step this time into Malasana, squat pose. I'll face you. Okay, sit on down with your knees wide and take your arms on the inside. With your arms, press outward. With your knees, squeeze in. Don't worry about how low your hips are. You can lift up. In fact, everybody lift up a little bit so that you're not resting on your calf muscles, but you're actually using your butt to activate and rise. Now squeeze your knees into your arms. That'll tone your adductor muscles. Okay, keeping the adductors toned. We're doing something called reciprocal, sorry, I keep saying that and mistaking it. It's called facilitated stretching. Facilitated stretching is activating the same muscle that you're stretching.
Okay, and what that does is speak to something called the Golgi tendon organ that asks the brain to release the tension on the muscle. Okay, that's the long and short of it. And it's basically a way of triggering the body to release tension. Okay, now take the hands to the ground, turn the feet in, bow forward. All right, face the side of your mat. We're going to come into Prasarita Padottanasana. So widen your feet. And as you're facing the side of the mat, come into a halfway lift with fingertips out in front. What we want to try to do is activate the adductor muscle line here again by squeezing the ball mounds and big toes toward one another. You're going to feel the front of your adductor muscles activating, like right in the front inner thigh. Squeeze in there, and then kind of lift your back of your buttocks up and move your heels out. So heels go apart, back of the hamstrings move apart, while the front of the shins and front of the feet and front of the thighs squeeze in. That's going to create a rotational energy. The front of the thighs moving in, the backs of the legs moving out. Okay, from there you can then bow, and if you'd like, you can walk your hands back. It's just an option. 2 more. One more. Bring the hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the hips. Squeeze in and rise all the way up. Okay, second round. Interlace the hands behind your back. Other pinky on the outside from the beginning. So whichever your natural grip is, just switch it. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears and then back, keeping that hand straight back behind you. Bow to the inside of your legs here. Prasarita Padottanasana. One more breath here. Release the bind, take the hands to the ground, and heel toe, don't heel toe, just turn your back foot, your left foot to the back of your yoga mat, bend the knee. Move your groins back, and here's what we'll do. We'll start with a bow here. If this is really intense for you, hard to balance, then you're just gonna stay right here. If it's fairly easy for you, the next step is to interlace the hands, regular grip behind your back, and stretch again, the shoulders open, and just balance in the position by bowing inward. You want to be inside of your left thigh, so not resting on the left thigh, shoulder inside of the left thigh. So if that means hands on the ground, then do that, because we really want to work on the hips. So what we do with the hips here is we squeeze the feet toward each other and press the left heel down. So you're drawing inward, and from the 2 legs, drawing into the center of your core, that's the tamasic energy, but pushing down through the left heel, that's the rajasic energy, and reaching through your hands, that's also rajasic energy. So expanding out from the arms the best of your ability. Okay, release the hands. Walk the hands over to the right. You're going to let the blood come right back down to the left leg. Hold here for a breath and just feel the sensations. Okay. Groins go back, bow to the inside of the right leg. Now again, pull your 2 feet toward each other and press the front heel down. Now if you have the balance, and you want to go the next step, you interlace the hands, non-dominant grip, for humbled warrior on this side. Holding here. Try to draw the feet toward one another. Again, that's that inward force of tamas. Pressing the front heel down, rajas. Reaching through the hands. Trying to bring the shoulder blades together on the back. That's going to be that tamasic inward energy as well. And letting the pulse of nature move through you, the breath flowing through. Feel the beauty of being alive, how grateful we are that we get to breathe. Let's not take that for advantage, let us not take it for granted, is what I'm saying. Okay, and then release, hands to the ground. Turn back to the center. This time, you'll grab yoga toe lock, peace fingers around big toes. Halfway lift, stick your buttocks up and the elbows out to the side and bow. If it's not feeling balanced for you enough, then just put your hands to the ground. That's totally cool. Feel the whole thing, full experience of your practice, the good, the bad, the hard, the easy. Embracing the fullness of all there is one of the things that needs to happen in order to go beyond the I maker, the ahankara. The intellect is what says this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. To go beyond that means we have to embrace all of it. The good, the bad, the right and the wrong, the dark, the light, the heavy, it's like all things in order to go beyond the intellect, the buddhi, to get to that place of chitta. Okay, bring the hands to the ground. And we come to a seated position with the right leg out to the side. Working on a number of poses, as I mentioned, in the next few weeks that are essentially a similar shape and form and progressively will get more challenging, but your ability to understand what's required of you goes up and up. Okay, so for this pose, Parshva Shirshasana, side variation of Janu Shirshasana, if the knee is kind of up here like this, that's because the adductor muscles are tight. So one thing I would recommend is hips go up on a blanket. That'll be easier on the groins. But also to abduct, to push outward, kind of like you did in chair pose, you pushed your heels out, push your knees or push your feet out and activate your outer hip muscles here. That should start to help you open it up. And then rotate this big toe forward. This is called everting the foot. Rotate the big toe forward. And then from your transverse, pick your abdominals in and up and start to do the back bend that we were doing, okay? And what we want to try to do is from this transverse engagement and the back bend, then start to tip over, okay? Now, you might find that, the lowest you're going today is elbow on block and hand can be resting for the head. And you take the arm up like this, maybe hand behind head. And this is your pose for today. Or you might find that you could take you could do a humble bow to get down there, stick your butt back, curl and turn. And maybe you start position here where you kind of grab the inside of the foot somehow. Okay. And then maybe you take the top arm up and over for Parshva Shirshasana. Now press the left knee down and outward. I have something in my eye, I apologize. Down and outward to activate the outer hip muscles, and press the outer right thigh. I'm not sure if I'm saying my rights and lefts right. Your left knee down and out, your outer right leg down and out as well. Then turn your chest, keep the left elbow bent if possible. Of course, you can be using a strap here, and pulling on the strap to move the shoulder blade back is great. Okay, then come on up. Parshva Shirshasana. We switch sides. Move the groins back. Big toe reaches forward. Again, my suggestion here, as soon as this thing comes out of my eye, is press your knee down and out to the side. And then kind of start, if you're going to go all the way down, and you're going to go all the way down, you can start in a rounded position, okay, and then kind of slide this arm wherever it goes. Okay, you don't have to grab the foot by any means, but if you can, this is cool, you can do that. Or your elbow goes on a block. The next thing is the deep side stretch. So you start with a bit of a back bend and then start to turn using your back muscles to help you out. Okay, and then the hand can come behind the head. Pressing the head back into the hand can be really nice. Or maybe stretching the arm up and over. I sometimes like to take my bottom arm and use that as a headrest. The knees are pressing outward, away from each other. And come on up. And we're going to be doing things, to open the shoulders as well. We did mostly hips today. So getting that top arm over can be really tough if you're tighter in the shoulders. So rest assured, I will target all the different muscle groups that are needed, as the weeks go along. Okay, so next, we take the left leg, and instead of in Janu Shirshasana form, we take it like a hurdler stretch, like so. And if this hurts your knee, you got to sit up on blankets or just return. This might not be good if you've got any sort of knee injuries. Return to Janu Shirshasana this way. This posture here requires internal rotation of the hip, and you're going to be leaning away from it. So what you'll do is you lift up and you take your hand that's closest to the foot here and slide it underneath and grab your ankle. And I'll show you from the back side, okay? So you see what that looks like. So here's what that looks like. I slide it underneath and grab the ankle like so, okay? And then I use that to lay over. And remember I said the shoulder and the inner knee, that's good. This is kind of what's required for this hurdler stretch. Luckily for this pose, it's a little bit easier to kind of side bend because it's not as deep when the hip lifts up. So you see my opposite hip is lifted up. So you can do that. And then you would start to turn by pulling this is something you want to look at. When you grab your foot or you grab a strap even, whatever you've got is fine. Pull your shoulder blade back, and that will help you to open up the whole pose. If the shoulder blade's forward like this, you're not going to open up very much. Pull the shoulder blade back, looking underneath the window. Hopefully that makes sense from the backside there. Take your time and a few moments, and let me just grab something to show you what it would look like with a strap. I don't have a strap, but I have a t-shirt, so I'm going to show you with a t-shirt, okay? So I know a lot of you at home, probably this pose is completely not accessible without a strap. So some of you it's easy, but others more often you're going to have to use a strap, okay? And if you don't have a strap, t-shirt, belt, whatever you got, okay? And this can be super helpful. Okay, so you get here and you put your elbow on the ground or on the block, you know, it kind of feels like this. And then what you do with the shoulder is like you're pulling on a lawnmower. There's some former knowledge for you. Pulling on a lawnmower and trying to pull your shoulder blade back, okay? And then once you get into that state, there should be no pain in the shoulder. If there is, then something's not going right. And it might be that you don't have enough flexibility in the side body yet to kind of get down there. But you want to really kind of use your muscles to kind of open rather than getting pulled. And then eventually you can start to grab the foot, okay? So that's the top arm. Now the bottom, the arm is fairly easy. It's just kind of reaching underneath the groins to grab the ankle, okay? And it's just a matter of, do you have enough opening in the side body and the outer hip here to get down there? So give it a shot. If you can grab the ankle, cool. If not, don't worry. And then again, grab the strap or the t-shirt in my case and start to pull the shoulder open. I actually don't know the name of this pose in Sanskrit. I'm sure some of you at home do, and I apologize. You're probably saying it to the camera, trying to tell me. All right, come on up. So let's come onto your back, please. And let's do a gentle twist of each direction. Your right knee comes across, a little bit of back bend. And then switch the sides. I really look forward to each time we come together, layering on different postures and different techniques. And you'll see how, if you're new to practicing with me over the course of the weeks, what you're going to find is that each action and each thing you learn will lead to some sort of opening down the line, lead to awareness of the body that will open up to greater access to postures within yourself. Come back to center. Bring your knees in. I like to push the knees into the hands to activate the buttock muscles and the back muscles. And now we release into Shavasana and take a moment to turn your legs in. And as you exhale, slowly let them release outward.
Now is the time to take a full breath and feel the totality of energy inside of you. May we have a moment of gratitude for this pulsing body, the energy that is flowing through us. Grateful for each breath that pulses inside of us. Nature, the gunas, the forces of nature are constant flux inside of us, allowing for existence and transformation to occur. To observe the energy of your body and the force of nature inside starts to awaken the chitta, that pure awareness within us. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Deepen your breath. Awaken fingers and toes slowly, not to disrupt the peace of the body. Stretch the arms. Bend the knees, roll to your side. Pause. Come on up to a seated position. And place the hands at the heart. May we honor the forces of nature within us, the gunas, the rajas, the tamas, the sattva, all three aspects, the push, the pull, and the balance in between. Recognizing that the push and the pull are a part of nature, which means they are a part of us, and they are exactly what fuels transformation and change, expansion and growth. And they are needed in order for us to make a change within us and all around us. So it is the rajas that got you to step onto this yoga mat today, and is the tamas that allows us to rest in our shavasana and to reboot, and is that place right in between where we can go into that pure intelligence of chitta. All awareness exists in this space, but we have to first embrace the fullness of all there is in order to go beyond the buddhi, the intellect that divides. We have to go beyond the ahankara, that part of us that forms the ego, and operate now in this time in the place of pure awareness to the best of our ability to serve ourselves and everyone around us. Thank you for your courage, and thank you for taking action in taking care of yourself. Let's take this care that we have supported ourselves and also help those in need and move it outward as well. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Thank you so very much, and appreciate you allowing me to be your guide. And this is a tough time right now to be in the position of being a leader or a guide and trying to get it right. And so I thank you for supporting and stepping into the class today. And I hope I got it right for you, and I hope to continue to do better and support you all. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday and Saturday. And then on Monday is the meditation, which I feel is not more important, but equally as important as asana practice, whereas the asana, the yoga practice, really helps us move through the patterns of our physical body. The meditation practice really is what digs us deeper into the mind, and they can really complement each other. A deeper meditation practice helps the physical practice helps the meditation practice. That's why I feel strongly passionate about sharing that with you, so that we can get past all of the egoic walls that we have put up over the course of life. And you know, it's not about changing our identity or anything like that, but by expanding it, by opening it to giving ourselves a greater sense of awareness of all that is. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to hearing from you in the Facebook group. Share about your practice, what your questions are, your highs and your lows, or anything that comes up. I'm happy to support you. All right, see you soon. Thanks again.